Mr. Chairman, for what it's worth, I agree with Senator Schumer that we need all the information about these programs and the distinctions, if any, between wide receiver and Fast and Furious. General Holder, I note that Fast and Furious has had a significant spillover effect in my state of Texas, where 119 of these weapons, of the 2,000 weapons that were walked into the hands of the cartels, 119 of them have shown up at crime scenes in my state. Investigations by Senator Grassley have also revealed that the ATF agents have ordered clerks at Houston-based business called Carter's Country to go through with sales of weapons to suspicious purchasers, some of which may have been working as agents of the cartels. On August the 7th, I sent you a letter asking you about the Texas connections, and I got a letter back last Friday from your subordinate saying that you were unable to provide more information at this time. I'm hopeful you will be able to provide more information because we know that the weapons from Fast and Furious have shown up at 11 different crime scenes in the United States, and this is far from, as you stated earlier, a local law enforcement operation in terms of its impact. Many of these weapons, of course, ended up in Mexico. One, we know at the death at the crime scene where Brian Terry was murdered by the cartels. But let me ask you a little bit about some of this timeline. First of all, on February the 4th, Assistant Attorney General Weiss wrote a letter denying gun walking, and it wasn't until November 1st of 2011 when Lanny Brewer testified that that letter was false, that throughout that whole period from February the 4th, 2011 and November the 1st, 2011, your department left the impression on Congress that the allegation that the department had engaged in gun walking operations was false, when in fact Mr. Brewer came in on November the 1st, 2011 and said that that letter sent to Senator Grassley in response to his inquiry, that letter was false. How do you account for the fact that the department had, for the period of time from February 2011 until November 2011, had misled Congress about the accuracy of that allegation?
Well, I think there's some validity in the concern that you raise. As I indicated before, with regard to that,
I do too.
Well, I hope so. Yeah, your question, so I assume you did. February the 4th, the information that was contained in that letter was thought to be accurate. It wasn't until sometime after that that we had a sense that the information was not in fact accurate. So it wasn't as if the date upon which we knew the information was inaccurate was on February the 4th. It comes sometime after that. I received things as late as March of 2011 from people at ATF who assured me that gun walking did not occur.
But your department, you said you learned about Fast and Furious. On May the 3rd, you said you learned probably over the last few weeks. Today you say it was over the last couple of months.
Well, no, I said over the last few weeks, or it could be expressed as over the last couple of months. I think the last few weeks, as I said, is consistent with the timeline that you have up there.
But the fact is, the department's official response to Senator Grassley as part of his investigation was that it didn't happen until you came before the House and said that you learned about it over the last few weeks. That was May the 3rd, 2011. Is that correct?
I'm not sure I understand that question.
Okay, well, let me go on to something else. Do you still contend this is a local law enforcement operation?
No, it's a federal. Oh no, don't misinterpret that. It's a federal law enforcement.
Those are your words. You said it was a local law enforcement operation.
Well, then that's my fault.
Opening testimony.
No, that's my fault. It's a federal law enforcement operation that was of local concern. It was not a national operation.
Well, it metastasized, didn't it, to Mexico? It metastasized to Texas, and obviously in Arizona, so it wasn't certainly local in effect. You would agree with that?
Oh, as I indicated in my opening statement, the impact of the mistakes made in Fast and Furious are going to be felt in Mexico, in the United States, and probably for years to come.
Because a lot of those guns are still have not been accounted for, correct?
Yeah, a number of those guns have not been accounted for, and that's why it is incumbent upon us, and why I've taken the steps that I've taken to try to ensure that the mistakes that happened there are not repeated.
This is the organization chart operation, is it?
Well, there are 115,000 employees in the United States Department of Justice. There are
And the buck stops with you.
I have ultimate responsibility for that which happens in the department, but I cannot be expected to know the details of every operation that is ongoing in the Justice Department on a day-to-day basis. I did not know about Fast and Furious, as is indicated in the chart that you now have up there, until, I guess, until it became public.
You cannot be expected to have known about the operation known as Fast and Furious, despite the fact that we know that you received an NDIC memo on July the 5th, 2010. You received another memo on Fast and Furious November the 1st, 2010, and you say you cannot be expected to have known about it because of the size of your agency?
No, there are a couple of problems with that chart, colorful though it is. The AG holder receives NDIC memo, incorrect. AG holder receives significant recent events memo. That is incorrect.
There were memos with your name on it addressed to you referring to the Fast and Furious operation. Are you just saying you didn't read them?
I didn't receive them.
You didn't receive them?
What happens is that these reports are prepared, these weekly reports or whatever, they are prepared with my name on them, with the Deputy Attorney General's name on them. They are reviewed by my staff and a determination made as to what ought to be brought to my attention. If you look at those memos, there's nothing in any of those memos that indicates any of those inappropriate tactics that is of concern to us now were actually used. And my staff made the determination that there was no reason to share the content of those memos with me. So AG holder receives memo, incorrect. AG holder receives significant recent events memo on Fast and Furious, also incorrect.
Have you apologized to the family of Brian Terry?
I have not apologized to them, but I certainly regret what happened.
Have you even talked to them?
I have not.
Would you like to apologize today for this, this program that went so wrong that took the life of a United States law enforcement agent?
And just before you answer, and that would have to be your last question, keep time.
I certainly regret what happened to Agent Brian Terry. I can only imagine the pain that his family has had to deal with, in particular his mother. I am the father of 3 children myself. We are not programmed to bury our kids. It pains me whenever there is the death of a law enforcement official, especially under the circumstances that this occurred. It is not fair, however, to assume that the mistakes that happened in Fast and Furious directly led to the death of Agent Terry. Again, my feelings of sympathy and regret go out to the Terry family, and I hope that the steps that we have put in place, the measures that I have called for, will prevent other federal agents, local, state agents from being the subject of this kind of violence, as well as civilians, both in the United States and in Mexico.
And I would put into